Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Rose Tileston, and I am the Senior Manager of Urban Forestry at American Forests. And my job involves um, managing financial grants to local nonprofit organizations and helping to support them in planning and implementing tree planting events for corporate and foundation sponsors. But in addition to those job responsibilities, I also manage the National Champion Tree Program, which is, I'm going to share with you a bit about that today. So let's see if I can share my screen now. Okay, I can.
Great, perfect.
So I've already introduced myself. I'll say my name just one more time. I'm Rose Tileston. I'm with American Forest, and I'm the Senior Manager of Urban Forestry. And I want to start my presentation off today by sharing with you a little bit about American Forest history. American Forest was founded in 1875 as the American Forestry Association by physician and horticulturalist John Aston Warder and a group of concerned citizens. About a decade after the Civil War, there was tremendous development and industrial expansion that was occurring here in the United States. And our forests were being cut down at an alarming rate. This was to make way for farms, towns, railways, and at that time, timber barons were also exploiting what to people then seemed like an inexhaustible resource. So the American Forestry Association was created as a response to the rapid and wasteful post-war development that was destroying our forests. So American Forests, our mission is to create healthy and resilient forests from cities to wilderness that deliver essential benefits for climate, people, water, and wildlife. And we advance our mission through forestry innovation, place-based partnerships, to plant and restore forests, and also through movement building. And we have a vision. Our vision is a world in which significant environmental, societal, and economic benefits of forests are fully realized and are equitably available to all people. The National Champion Tree Program is American Forest's legacy program. It is over 80 years old. Learning this information, you might wonder to yourself, how did this program start and what is its history? Well, I'm here to share that with you. In 1925, a man by the name of Fred W. Besley was known as the Dean of State Foresters and was Maryland's first state forester. Fred pioneered the Champion Big Tree Program in the state of Maryland, and he standardized the method for measuring trees. But Fred not only had a love for big trees, he also loved photography. And he would actually stop to take pictures of big trees with people standing next to them. Over time, Mr. Besley's tree measuring methods were adopted across the country, and his Champion Big Tree program went national when he became the director of American Forestry Association. And he remained the director of American Forestry Association for 18 years. So thanks to Fred, people across the country were thinking about the big trees in their state. And the first call, though, to find the largest trees in the nation came in September 1940. There was a concerned forester by the name of Joseph Stearns, and he published an article titled "Let's Find and Save the Biggest Trees" in an issue of American Forest magazine. Stearns was not referring to the famous and historic trees that were already protected. but he was referring to the giant trees that had been left standing in virgin forests. In this picture here is Lillian Cromlin. She was the associate editor of American Forest magazine, and Lillian created the initial list of American big trees in 1940. Although the National Register of Champion Trees started out as an awareness campaign, it quickly turned into a competition and a national search to discover and preserve the largest specimens of American trees began. The trees that people seek today are found in forests and fields, they're found along roadways, they're found in backyards, parks, and cemeteries. The name of the National Register of Champion Trees has changed throughout the years. In 1940, it was known as American Big Trees. In 1961, it became the Social Register of Big Trees. And then in 1978, the name changed again to the National Register of Big Trees. And finally, in 2014, the name of the register is what we know it as today, the National Register of Champion Trees. The National Champion Tree Program and the National Register of Champion Trees aren't the only champion tree programs in the country. In fact, nearly every state has their own big tree or champion tree program. And these programs are housed in state departments and agencies, universities, like today we're with the University of Tennessee, nonprofit organizations, and with citizen volunteer groups. Each of these programs has different capacity depending on their funding and the amount of staff or volunteers that they have. Most all of them also have a website that you can visit if you'd like to learn more about your state's program. Most champion or big tree programs, however, follow pretty similar rules. For a tree to be eligible to become a national champion or even a state champion, in most but not all cases, the tree has to be living, it has to be an eligible species, it has to have an eligible growth form, and it must be verified by an expert. Once those 4 criteria have been met, if it's the largest of its species, the tree will be crowned a national champion or a state champion, again, depending on the program. So what species are eligible? Well, I can speak from the national program's perspective. For our program, species that are eligible for the National Register of Champion Trees are native tree species and non-native and naturalized tree species. We don't accept hybrids, cultivars, ornamentals, or unclassified varieties because the list would just become very unwieldy. Currently, we have over 900 scientific names on our eligible species list. So you can imagine how many more would be on that list if we accepted all these other criteria. It's important to note that the criteria are different across state programs. Some state programs like to accept invasive species, some accept hybrids, cultivars, ornamentals, and varieties, unlike American forests. And that's totally fine. Again, check your state program. So what growth forms are eligible for the National Register of Champion Trees? For the National Register of Champion Trees, we don't take an organism approach to what we allow onto our list. We don't accept nominations for specimens that are growing in the form of a shrub, but we do accept nominations for specimens that are growing in the form of a tree. Serviceberry is a prime example of a woody plant that we know can grow in both forms. And so I've used this species as an example today. What makes a champion tree? Trees are able to make it onto the National Register. I'm sorry, I lost my place. Champion trees are the largest of their species, and each tree is evaluated according to a point system. 1 point for each inch in circumference, 1 point for each foot of height, and 1 point for each quarter of crown spread. After the tree has been measured and those measurements have been recorded, we calculate a final score using the formula that's shown on this slide. Circumference in inches plus height in feet plus 1/4 of the crown spread in feet gives the tree its total points. Trees are crowned champion trees or co-champion trees. Trees are crowned champions if they are the largest trees of their species nominated to the National Register of Champion Trees. But trees are also crowned co-champions if their point totals are within 3% or 3 points of each other, whichever is larger. If two trees are over 100 points, it will be 3% of the larger tree's total points. If they are under 100 points, the trees will be crowned co-champions if they are within 3 points of each other. So now that I've shared all this information with you, you might be wondering, okay, I've nominated a tree to the National Register of Champion Trees. I've met all the criteria. In fact, my tree even was crowned a champion tree. So does that mean that my tree will be on the National Register forever? The short answer is no. And there's a few reasons. The most obvious is sometimes trees die. And because sometimes trees die, we actually have a rule in place called the 10-year rule. This 10-year rule states that trees that have been verified must be re-verified every 10 years. American Forest wants confirmation that the tree is still living. We want to gather new measurements because we know that trees can grow bigger, and sometimes they can also lose limbs. We also seek new photographs to document how the tree is looking at that time. And once we've collected all of that information, once every 10 years, a particular nomination can maintain its eligibility to be a national champion or a national co-champion tree. So at this time, the National Register of Champion Trees has over 600 national champions. You can nominate a tree using American Forest online nomination form. Currently, we're in our open nomination period, and anyone from the public can nominate a tree to the National Register. The date that we accept our last nominations for this year is May 31st, 2021. We also release the National Register of Champion Trees once per year. This year, it'll be released on September 31st on our website. So finally, you might be wondering to yourself, why do champion trees matter? Why do big trees matter? Well, there's a lot of reasons. The first, carbon storage. We know that the biggest trees hold the most carbon, and that's so critically important right now while we're facing climate change. We also know that our biggest trees can be known as mother trees. They produce seedlings and support the ecosystem around them. We also know that the biggest trees have enhanced ecosystem benefits. Just like every other tree, they capture stormwater, they clean our air, but they do it to a greater degree, and that's important. Champion trees from a programmatic standpoint and from a scientific standpoint are important because they help to answer scientific questions, such as how big can a tree get? How big can a tree of a particular species get? And since we also record data about why trees die, we are also collecting information about what are the different causes of tree mortality. Additionally, these programs are so important because they offer an opportunity for education. There are so many things that you can learn by participating in your state or the national big tree or champion tree program. That includes how to measure a tree, how to identify a tree, how to understand how to use GPS and maps. There's a lot of opportunity here. Also, biodiversity. The National Register of Champion Trees is a wonderful showcase of the vast biodiversity that the United States has. With the opportunity for over 900 different species to be showcased on the National Register, some of these species, some of these champion trees, we have pictures of species that are threatened or endangered that most people may not have ever seen before. And finally, champion trees are important because they inspire us to protect and conserve our largest trees. They inspire us to implement policies from the local to the federal level, from protecting big old trees to also protecting threatened and endangered species. Thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure presenting. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask them. Thank you.